Greetings and welcome to another episode of the Planetary Persuader. I am KozMcKev, your host, and this is for the week beginning June 5th, 2020. So, Friday, June 5th. Happy full moon, and looking at the sky, we'd see that moon in the constellation of Scorpio. And the part of Scorpio that the moon is in is a lunar mansion known as Jayista. So, what is it about Jayista? Jayista is said to be ruled by Indra, and Indra is the god of the gods. It will not quit when there's a fight. The other thing to realize about Jayista is that in the sidereal zodiac, Vedic zodiac, this is the very last part of Scorpio, and really everything from Leo, Maga Nakshatra through Virgo, Libra, Scorpio deals with our dealings in the material world. Building businesses, making love, having families, major life purchases mostly happen in this time frame. And you can think of it also as those years as symbolic of everything that happens to you between 28 and 56. That's when most economic activity, family making in these modern times seems to happen. So Jayista is that final, okay, we're either going to do this or we're not. And Jayista is also about seniority and preference. Sometimes you are the firstborn, especially firstborn daughter is associated with Jayista, who is sometimes considered a mother. It's ruled by Mercury in that particular nakshatra. So there's a thing about gathering information, and there's also an element of doing without, sacrifice and poverty, sometimes seen in Jayista. It was believed that Alakshmi was Lakshmi's older sister, and that she did all these favors to make Lakshmi more famous. She sacrificed herself as this older sister to make Lakshmi this famous goddess. It's kind of a sweet story in a lot of ways, but there is this tendency of maybe feeling like you got cheated sometimes. Now, one of the symbols is a shield, another one is a talisman, and it's just a notable part of the sky because we're getting closer to that center of the Milky Way galaxy, which is where we're going to be tomorrow. Now, the moon is full in the Jayista nakshatra at 12:12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and it's an eclipse, folks. This is not an easy moon, because it's a debilitated moon in sidereal Scorpio, and I know in Western astrology, which is what most of this show is about, it's in Sagittarius, so it's like, oh, let's go out and play. It might be too dangerous to play. Some people could get ill, I suppose. I mean, I'd say just keep your immune system strong, eat right, eat lots of fruit and vegetables, exercise, and make sure you get enough of the other nutrients your body needs to get by. We're going to just take this sign by sign, beginning with you, Aries. Greetings, Aries. Welcome to your horoscope. Okay, so what do we got here? Well, we've got ourselves. Oh yeah. Moon is in your ninth house. So ninth house is the moon of higher learning, of gurus, your relationship to your father, taking a chance, taking a risk, being in some kind of adventure. And it's considered a very auspicious house. That good things happen here. After going through all the muck of the 8th house moon a couple days ago, right? Mercury is in Cancer, and it's really interesting to note that Mercury is going to go retrograde this month, folks. So the dance of the retrogrades aren't over, and certainly Venus is retrograde, which is really odd. But eventually Venus will go direct later on this month as well. And so, which was like around the 25th of June. I think until then, relationships might be a little bit odd for you at this time. You're kind of working on finances and money and, what to do about it. And I believe in miracles. Good things still happen. Keep the faith. All right. Greetings, Taurus. Welcome to your horoscope. This association. How do we keep the peace in a time like this? So this moon is like in the 8th house and it's an eclipse. I do not think this is necessarily the easiest moon to begin with, and I'm thinking that you're probably just a little bit like, whoa, what the heck is going on out there? Because I'm not quite feeling it the way I'd like to feel it. Plus you have Uranus in your first house, especially if you're an April born or early May born Taurus, you're going to be feeling more shake-ups and quake-ups and wake-ups as time goes on. There's certainly a focus on finances, and I think you're going to move into better territory in your life. Your communication skills are great, so keep working on those. And you've got leadership at work. You've got Jupiter in the 9th house right now with Pluto. I think a miracle could happen for Taurus. Okay. This is where the rubber hits the road. Greetings, Gemini. So we're in the middle of the Gemini period. And so this full moon, let's see, it's at... wrong page, is at 15 degrees 34 minutes. I mean, you're right dab in the middle of Sagittarius in the Western tropical zodiac. So that's your 7th house, and that's the house of relationships. So what are you feeling? It could be very passionate. It could be passionate love, or it could be passionate dissatisfaction. It's hard to know, and your intuition is on. You're really focused on it. You've had so many planets, last week, where it's kind of like you went through this storm of activity, and now things are kind of finally starting to settle a little bit. Also, Gemini, Mercury moving into Cancer is sort of like a breakup of the Kalsarpa Yoga, where all the planets were on one side. So things are starting to integrate a little bit. So things are starting to get a little better for everybody right now. And happy birthday. Well, greetings, Cancer, and welcome to your horoscope. I mean, every birth is a death, every death is a birth. We're in this place right now where you have a more conscious message to share with others. This moon might affect you in health or as far as working with others, co-workers today. Just be sensitive to all that stuff, and it can be hard out there. And this is like kind of a lay low time for you as the Sun and Venus transit your 12th house. It's like the house of loss, a house of isolation. I mean, it's a house of dreams. And I mean, there can be good karma potentially, but it's mostly the harder karma that we deal with in the 12th house. Swimming's a great activity right now with Mars in the 9th. So just staying physically active can really help your mind. But if you're not eating right, all the physical activity in the world isn't going to necessarily help that much. You need a really good support system to back up your activity. And there could be a miracle in your own relationship. I mean, you've gone through some ego-crushing stuff during this period. But, get out there in the water. It's a good thing. It's good for you. All right, greetings, Leo, and welcome to your horoscope. So, we want to open our heart up to bigger and better things. I mean, I think that's the deal. And right now, this is a time when you really make a lot of social connections, where friends in high places count, where you reap the benefits of interconnectedness. And in some ways, like the whole quarantine situation has given people more of a thirst and hunger for each other. And there's been this calmness of space. So things can be approached on a very different level than they ever have before. This moon overall is going to be pretty good, but it is an eclipse. So where would that affect your life? Well, if you have children, watch your children. What's going on with them? What are they up to? They're going to be feeling this moon right now. If you don't have children, this involves especially your creative projects, where you're moving towards. So we look at that as well. But cultivate good friendships. Pay attention to dreams. There's messages and dreams for you, and it's also there's more of an impatience with Mars going through your 8th house. So you're very aware of other people's power and maybe the injustice around that, and you have to kind of back off a little, breathe, don't get too mad. Well, greetings Virgo, and welcome to your horoscope. So, Gemini is like Virgo in that they're both ruled by Mercury, but Virgo deals more with a microcosm, and Gemini deals with more of a macrocosm. But because Virgo's Earth and the micro is the center point, this is like foundational stuff. So Virgo's into that more foundational. Gemini might be a little more airy-fairy into fads and latest things, and they acknowledge power in that and might manipulate that without ever even having a real opinion on it. Yeah, it's like political genius is what I call it. And so for Virgo, this is your performance at work, and you're doing it with a sense of grace because there's Venus there and love. So you're putting your love into your work. Even Venus retrograde, it's like she's slowing down. What can I do to beautify? What can I do to make things better? So a little cleaning, a little tasks, just every little nice thing. That's all. It's like, hey, showing your concern. Well, Mars is in the 7th house. Mars is 7th house relationships. And so you feel very independent in your relationship in some ways, and yet at the same time you're working on negotiation and peacemaking, and some things seem silly. I mean, Saturn's in the 6th house, so it's like about hard work. So like Virgo's working hard right now. That's what I'll say. It's like there's this dutifulness. Now Pluto and Jupiter, like there's a miracle as far as like children are concerned, and even your own creative process. It's like I look at Pluto Jupiter as like, let's spiritually make miracles. Let's do something of the miraculous and of a higher mind. Because what signs would you associate with those planets? Well, Pisces, Sagittarius, Scorpio. Want a higher mind there. Okay. So, greetings Libra, and welcome to your horoscope. So, well, it's not like everything's super easy, and it's not like everything's super hard. Everything's in the balance again. This moon, it's probably going to affect you like with neighbors, people in your neighborhood, Venus retrograde. But in the 9th house, it's like with the sun, with the North Node, it's like, how do I find a higher love amidst people that are intentionally deceitful? How do I maintain that high road, and in all my dealings, even when things don't seem that just? Mars in the 6th house, good to exercise. It's good to build up your immune system. Chiron's transiting the 7th house. I don't have a figure for it, but there could be healing involved in your relationships. Kind of revamping your home a little bit with the Pluto Jupiter thing. There could be a buying, selling, moving things around, and like I said, full moon in the neighborhood. Turning it on over to Scorpio. So, greetings Scorpio, welcome to your horoscope. And the eclipse is in the 2nd house, so I would really refrain. Advise refraining from financial decisions at this time. Um, Venus going through your eighth house, so kind of looking at your partner as having a lot of power at this time, and you're just kind of like trying to stay chill. Interested in, maybe you're a little more interested in studying the occult and magical phenomena. Why do these things happen? And then there's of course Mercury in the ninth house. So there's a message in that, the messages of the higher things, reading the Bible, maybe even reading old Vedic texts, Bhagavad Gita, or the Pentateuch or the Talmud in Judaism, the Quran and Islam. I mean, I think there's probably gems to be gleaned from all of them. I think it's just really arrogant to have a view of what I'd call religious bigotry. Because it's like you haven't walked that person's path or know what they were exposed to feel the way they do about what they're doing. And yeah, we don't want anyone going to hell. I get that. You feel like you're on the right and it's worked for you, so you're excited and you want to share that. And that's okay, as long as the focus is love. And once you start straying from that, it gets super dicey. And we've all strayed. And so, I mean, there's a lot of things in relationship that's weird for you, Scorpio, but you've got that higher word. It's going to help you. Physical activity with your children. There's a lot of activity right now. Oh, every little thing can help. Well, here we go. Sagittarius, greetings. Welcome, welcome to your horoscope. Okay, so what do we got going on for you? Well, this is the deal. Moon is full today in your first house, in Jyeshta Nakshatra. And then it goes into Mula Nakshatra, by tomorrow. And it's really, I mean, some of it was last night, you felt it, and you're going to feel it certainly through the day today. I wouldn't suggest looking at it. I'd say if you had the option at noon, I'd just close the door, take a rest, say a few prayers. Say prayers inside's probably a better idea from what I've heard. Relationships, though, really big for you right now. Partnerships, new jobs, things like that. That's what's brewing. Keep monitoring health issues. Some things can suddenly appear and suddenly go away. This might be a time to sell items that don't work for you. You might be interested in moving. Sagittarius, interested in moving? Oh, wow. But, it's like, even, I'd say keep everything on the chill today. It's like, that's what this is about. Meditate, pray, keep it on the chill. Don't go too wackadoodle. Greetings, Capricorn. Welcome to your horoscope. So, I mean, in the Capricorn terms of what's happening, it's pace yourself. This has been an emotional roller coaster of a year, and Saturn's going to go back into Capricorn. Right now it's still in your second house, but it's retrograde. And retrograde planets are planets that ask for more attention. They're like, hey, I'm not going along with this whole thing right now. I'm getting closer to you, and you need to pay attention to my values. And Saturn's values are, I want the best of you. I want you to discipline yourself. I want you to humble yourself. I want you to pay attention to people that don't have as much as you, and to create justice. And in the process, there's often restriction, there's embarrassment, there's a lot of different things. Sometimes there's health issues, a lot of different things Saturn can call us. Saturn's a planet that defeats our ego, basically. But in that, we can look at the suffering of other people and say, well, we're one. Your suffering is my suffering. And my suffering is your suffering. We're all experiences. And there's been scientific proof in physics that we do share like an emotional and mental sphere with each other, even if we're not talking or communicating. I know, it's a lot of responsibility. It's hard enough just to get along, and you have to tell me that. Yeah, I know. It's like, So Gemini time is about getting your health together, and this time of year, if you're in the northern hemisphere, it's generally eating more raw food, cooling down, dealing with excess heat issues, things like that. So you want to get enough water, be fluid, use the heat to help you in yoga and stretching and getting all that stuff worked out, so you're not too stiff, and we move it on over. Moving it on over to Aquarius. Well, greetings Aquarius, welcome to your horoscope. This is a wonderful time for you. And why am I saying it's a wonderful time for you? Because Gemini's in your 5th house, so it puts you in your heart. It puts creative projects back in the forefront in your life. And if you have children, they're giving you more joy. And, it seems like a really artsy, unique idea period. Just even seeing the North Node there with Venus and Sun, there's just sort of this wow, things are going to get made, things are going to happen. And you're going to be part of that happening. So just being very constructive with your life, moving ahead, letting that joy motivate you. And there is, a little karma there with the South Node and Pluto and Jupiter that still need to be digested and worked through, but you're okay. I guess in that sense it's more in the 11th house in this particular form. Yeah, the South Node being 11th with this moon. Oh boy. Okay. Well, yeah. It's not a good moon to go to social events, even though there'll probably be a lot of them. I'm just going to say that. All right, now we're going to wrap it up here with Pisces. So, friend who's a Pisces, one of my followers. Gail, I just want to say hi. Challenges are difficult, because you're more of an accepting, integrated person. But this is a time to focus on your independence and your leadership, and you're free from a lot of stuff, and you're able to think more logically during this period because of Mars' presence. 4th house, you're working on your home life, your inner life. I think this is a time where you'll make your meditations and your prayer life sweeter. There's lots of ways to do that. So everyone's got a different take. Now this moon's going to affect your workplace if you're work, or kind of career karma in a way. So you don't want things to be too out of sorts. Saturn's in the 12th house, so you're dealing with some difficult stuff. It could be worse. Saturn can be merciful. There's a social life that kind of wants to happen right now, but it's going to be done on a different level. I'm not a big fan of Zoom parties, but I still crack jokes at them and have fun. Yeah, and you've got some great creative insights coming. And so I'd say, if you are going through some dark feelings or whatever, just journal them, put them in a place. That way they become a thing, and then you can close the book. I'm like, okay, that's done. And then enjoy that beautiful self. So, really the big news this week is mostly just the lunar eclipse happening at 12:12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And I would love it if you would like or share this video. If you're interested in getting a personal consultation, you can always leave a message, and we can see what we can work on there. Otherwise, much love to all of you, and don't forget to like or share or ring the bell, and I will be with you next week, and we'll do this again on the Planetary Persuader with me, KozMcKev. Yay!